and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on Henry VIII, and today we get to hear from Cardinal Wolsey in Act 3, Scene 2. So a couple little tidbits, things that happened before the divorce proceedings. We've been spending a lot of time with the divorce proceedings the last few days. Prior to that, if you remember, Buckingham was killed because he was thought to be a traitor against the king, and even though the king liked him, they had him put to death. And then also there was the taxation thing at the very beginning where the people were being very heavily taxed, and the king said, no, that's not okay. And Wolsey tried to take credit for getting the taxes revoked, even though it was the king revoked Wolsey's taxes. Anyway, so yeah, some big stuff has happened, and then the divorce proceedings happened that Catherine stormed out of, and then Wolsey and Campius went to plead with her to say, like, just put your faith in the king and everything will be fine, and blah, blah, blah. And yesterday, by the end of yesterday, the end of Act 3, Scene 2, she's just sort of given up the fight, and she's like, whatever, it'll be what it is. It'll just be what it is. So at the beginning of Act 3, Scene 2, we get Norfolk, Suffolk, Surrey, and Lord Chamberlain chatting, and we learn a few very important things. The Earl of Surrey was the son-in-law to Buckingham, so he hates Cardinal Wolsey for that. We find out that the other guys there, Norfolk, Suffolk, and Chamberlain, also are not big fans of Wolsey, which is important to know. And they're all sort of relishing in the fact that a letter that the Cardinal had written to the Pope, the Cardinal Wolsey had written to the Pope in Rome, actually got intercepted and ended up in the hands of the king. And in this letter, Cardinal Wolsey says that he disapproved of the divorce and disapproves of King Henry's impending marriage to Anne Boleyn. We also find out that in secret, the king has already married Anne Boleyn. So the the four of them, Chamberlain, Norfolk, Suffolk, and Surrey, are plotting and chatting and sort of enjoying how delicious this is, that they can start to see things go south for Cardinal Wolsey. And then they see Cardinal Wolsey come in, and he asks Cromwell, like, did the king get my box of papers? And Cromwell's like, yeah, he got them. And then Cromwell leaves, and Wolsey seems to just sort of be talking to himself, while the other guys are sort of commenting on, like, look, he seems rather distraught. And in his sort of talking to himself, he's like, the late queen's gentlewoman, a knight's daughter to be her mistress, the queen's queen. This candle burns not clear, 'tis I must snuff it. Then out it goes. What though I know her virtuous and well-deserving, yet I know her for spleeny Lutheran and not wholesome to our cause, that she should be in the bosom of our hard-ruled king. Again, there is sprung up an heretic, an arch one, Cranmer. One hath crawled into the favor of the king, and is his oracle. So Cardinal Wolsey wants the king, now that he's single and divorced from Catherine, wants him to marry a French duchess or something like that to seal that deal. So some of this speech is him just sort of ripping on Anne Boleyn, like, why on earth would he marry Anne Boleyn? She's got nothing, she's a nobody, and he shouldn't marry her. I gotta stop this thing. But he also lets us know that Cranmer is back. Cranmer was one of the guys that Henry sent off to determine whether or not the marriage to Catherine was legit. Cranmer is back, and he did such a good job that he is now the Archbishop of Canterbury. So that's also fun. And yeah, Act 3, Scene 2 is really, really long. It goes on for a very long time, and there's a lot of Cardinal Wolsey in it. It's a really big scene for him, so we'll get to hear more from him, and we'll get to see where all of this goes with him secretly in non-cahoots with the king. Do you think that turns out well? We'll see. I'll see you tomorrow for more.